A very good morning, children. How are you all? Hope you all are keeping well and using your time wisely in studies. Students, in today's video lecture, we shall study Snapshots Chapter 7 Birth by A.G. Cronin. So, first of all, let us know something about the author. Student author is A.G. Cronin, Archibald Joseph Cronin, better known simply as A.G. Cronin. Lived from 19th of July 1896 to 6th of January 1981. Student, he was one of the most commercially successful Scottish writers of 20th century. Students, his best novel, The Citadel, tells of a Scottish doctor in a Welsh mining village who then shoots up the medical ladder in London. So, student, let us know something about the introduction of the chapter. Student, birth is an excerpt from the Citadel that revolves around and Dr. Andrew Mansion, who just graduated out of medical school. Students, it is an account of how the newly graduated medical practitioner helped in bringing Joe Morgan and Susan Morgan's child into this world, despite going through a tough time with his girlfriend Christine. So let us see what is there in this chapter. A student, when Dr. Andrew reached his house at around 12 at night, he caught the sight of Joe Morgan climbing up and down the stairs between his small clinic and the entrance to his house. A student, on seeing Andrew, this man who is a driller, Joe Morgan, heaved a sigh of relief. Student Joe Morgan expressed how pleased he was to see Dr. Andrew. Then student, he tells doctor how he has been waiting there for him for about an hour. As a matter of fact, student Joe Morgan's wife actually needs Dr. Andrew to examine her even before the time of her child's birth. So, student, her wife is in a critical situation. On hearing this, Dr. Andrew had a sudden flashback of the unpleasant night he had with his girlfriend Christine. But without wasting further time, he told Joe to wait outside while he got his bag. Student, when doctor came out, both of them began walking towards number 12 Blena Terrace, where Joe's wife was. Means number 12 Blena Terrace is the address of Joe Morgan. Student, it was a quite cool night and the streets were silent, which made it mysterious. Dr. Andrew, who generally is full of life and spirit, was silent and lacked energy. Student Andrew had no idea what the night had in store for him and that it was going to influence his life in Blenheim. So, student, both of them were walking silently till they reached number 12. Then, student, as soon as they reached at this address, Joe revealed to Andrew that he does not want coming in, but he showed full confidence in Andrew. He said that I have full faith in you. So Joe Morgan's voice actually was tense and under pressure. Now student Andrew entered the gate alone. He took the stairs, which were of rather small width, and he reached a bedroom. The bedroom actually was not lavish or luxurious, but it was neat. And inside the room were Joe Morgan's mother in law, a woman of around 70 with larger than the average height and grey hair, along with a plump midwife to assist the childbirth. So, student, this midwife was also of an elderly age. So, both sat beside Mrs. Morgan, waiting for Andrew. Then this sweet old lady, means Mrs. Morgan's mother, offered Andrew a cup of tea because she addressed Andrew as Ba, which is used while displaying affection. So, realizing that this old lady might be worried about him leaving during the waiting period because there was some waiting period, he gave her a gentle smile and comforted her by assuring that he will not go away. And the fact that she anticipated the period of waiting and was worried about him running away made Andrew realize that she was wise and had plenty of experience. So, student, what happened was he sipped, Dr. Andrew sipped the tea in the kitchen downstairs. Though he was mentally and physically exhausted because of the unpleasant meeting with Christine, his girlfriend, he knew it was impossible for him to even get an hour's sleep if he went home. So, student, although new in his line or practice, he was aware that the situation was critical and called for his 100% attentiveness. Strangely, student, he felt a bit active and he decided to stay at the place till his duty was over or fulfilled. So, student, now he went upstairs after almost an hour to check Mrs. Morgan, and he sat near the kitchen fire. Coming back, and student, it was the time of the night where everything was still. The only sounds that came was of the ticking clock, tick tock of clock, and second voice sound was Joe Morgan's footsteps from the outside and from the almost extinguished piece of coal. So, student, while he sat in the kitchen, Mrs. Morgan's mother sat in front of him wearing her black dress. So she looked at him constantly with her wise eyes that were filled with hope. So, student, clearly the earlier unpleasant moments with Christine had taken a toll on his mind. Student, he was still being haunted by the incident that took place at Cardiff station. Now, student, he began thinking of his friends and acquaintances who have had bad experiences in love and marriage. The student, he thought of Bramwell, the woman he loved had cheated on him. And then, students, he contemplated upon the relationship of Edward Page, who was committed to a dominating woman named Blodwen. And then, student, he reflected upon how Danny is living away from his wife not so happily. So, student, all of this brought him to an interference that made him cringe. And student, he wanted to believe that the institution of marriage actually was a cheerful one that guaranteed peace and companionship. Student, he also had no other reason to believe. Otherwise, with Christiane's shining eyes in his mind. So, student, he was undoubtedly facing a conflict with all his mind, heart, and soul in disagreement. So, student, he thus rested his chin on his chest and he pulled out his legs while he was glancing at the fireplace. Student, he sat still for a few moments. His mind was still preoccupied with Christine until the old lady broke her silence, broke his silence, and she was thinking about something else. Now, student, the old lady tells the doctor how worried Suzanne was. Who was Suzanne? The mother of the baby. How worried Suzanne was on account of this only, on account of this complicated situation only. Student, she even refused to have anesthesia if it were to affect the baby. So she told the doctor how invested she was in the child. The lady corrects herself and says that all of them actually are invested in the child, not only that woman, not only the mother. So, students, her eyes actually were filled with warmth while she said this. And the doctor, preoccupied with another set of worries, somehow cleared his mind and he assured the old lady that the anesthetic would do no harm to either of them, means neither to the mother nor to the baby. So, students, suddenly they heard the voice of midwife calling upon them. Andrew saw that it is already 3:30 and that he shall begin now with the procedure. So he got up to go to the bedroom upstairs. And students, it took him almost an hour to perform the surgery, to perform this operation. Student, it was rather a tough operation, tough surgery. While the first rays now of daylight, means the dawn, early morning, while the first rays of daylight came inside. Do you know from where? From the corner of the window. The Morgan child was born. Unfortunately, students, the child was cold and is stillborn. So, up to here, we will study in this video class. We will cover up the remaining story in the next video class. Thank you, students.